Let's bring in our UK correspondent, Jonathan Sacerdoti, for the latest on what life will be like in Great Britain post-exit. Jonathan, thanks for being on the show. I know it is very early in the UK. So let's talk about this new immigration policy. Seems to be bold, even controversial by the British government. What exactly is being changed here?
Well, Hannah, the new rules represent a total change in how immigration will be regulated here in the UK. The government has announced that it is ending free movement and that it will introduce an immigration bill to bring in what it calls a firm and fair points-based system. This is being compared to the Australian system and will see potential immigrants being scored according to their circumstances. Skilled workers, students, and a range of other specialist work routes, including routes for global leaders and innovators, will score the highest. Those who can speak English with a job offer in the UK paying over £25,000 and who are backed by a sponsor will also receive higher scores. And initiatives are also being brought forward for scientists, graduates, National Health Service workers and those in the agricultural sector, which will provide businesses with additional flexibility in the shorter term as the country adapts to these new changes.
So what lies behind the shift in policy? Why is the government changing the rules? And more importantly, Jonathan, why now?
Well, successive Conservative-led governments have promised to cut immigration, but none have managed to meet their targets. And now the government says that the new rules will attract the high-skilled workers needed to contribute to the British economy and British public services. They say their aim is to create a high-wage, high-skill, high-productivity economy. Britain has been part of the European Union for decades, and that has meant, among other things, that immigrants from Europe have been able to move freely into the country regardless of their skill level or employment status. And one of the benefits of leaving the European Union is that Britain can now define its own immigration rules. So earlier today, Home Secretary Priti Patel explained why the government was introducing these new rules.
This is a very significant moment in the UK's immigration policy. This is the first time in decades the government has been able to take back control, run its own immigration system after we've left the European Union, end free movement, end low-skilled migration to our country, which means that we will get migration numbers down. And that is central to this policy of a points-based system.
So as well as cutting immigration numbers, the government is showing it will treat EU immigrants just the same as those from elsewhere in the world.
Everyone is reacting positively to these new immigration rules. What are critics saying?
Well, the new immigration system has not pleased everyone, with those in the farming, health and social care sectors perhaps the most worried. The hospitality industry also relies heavily on cheaper, less well-skilled workers from abroad. Some have pointed out that the children of unskilled immigrants from previous decades have gone on to contribute enormously to the country at every level. The fear many have is that without the same ease of movement into the UK they enjoyed, there could easily be a shortage of healthcare support staff, carers for the elderly and disabled, and other so-called low-skilled jobs. Worries over the immigration rules for family members of skilled migrants are also yet to be fully answered. And all of this is due to come into action in less than 1 year, which also leaves many businesses struggling to adapt in time. But the government claims that British people who are currently economically inactive may yet fill the gaps left in the workforce, and insists that these changes represent a more positive policy for controlling immigration.
Jonathan Sacerdoti live in London tonight. Jonathan, thank you.